I think of Chan with his blue eyes, the light in his eyes, a wonderful smile, always a friend to everybody, has a wonderful way with people, you know. He definitely encompasses the entrepreneurial spirit and always has.
Chan and I have known each other for over 70 years, and it starts in grade school. And sometimes referred to him as the Tom Edison of our class. He was always bringing in some kind of experiment that I think his dad really prompted Chan, his brother, to be creative and active. One day, he sends his brother Hutch out in the yard with a tin can and a string attached right to the bottom of it, in through the window, and Chan had another can there, and they stretched the string tight, and they could talk to each other. And I thought that was pretty amazing. but Chan was usually doing something like that.
My father started Stevens Manufacturing in 1945, and I was 12 years old. And I used to go down nights and weekends and build samples with him in the old Hartman Electric building on Diamond Street. So that's where I started mechanical work. I went to Western Reserve Academy for high school, graduated in '51. Interesting thing, out of 62 of us that graduated that year, 5 of us ended up at MIT. It was sort of an unusual crew for the school. They haven't duplicated it since, and I don't think they want to.
I was always astounded at the students who were at MIT. They were different than the rest of us. And I was in engineering school and thought I knew some things, but these people knew a lot more than I did.
If you looked at him sometimes when I've seen him putzing around on the battery of a golf cart, and you said, here's an MIT graduate, you'd go, yeah.
Very intelligent man, but he is very humble for the fact that nothing overwhelms him or anything's too much for him.
We were a thermostat manufacturer, somewhat competitor to Thermodisc. Slow cookers, irons, coffee pots, air heaters, small stuff. We had started to develop a line of controls for gas ranges, the ovens, and we pioneered the use of electricity to control gas. It turned out it was about $5, $6 an oven cheaper to do it with electricity. So my job was to canvass the gas range industry, which was about 28 manufacturers back in those days. We were number 3 in the country as to sales for controls for the gas industry.
He told me a story about, he said when they, in their company, they made frying pans or whatever. But anyways, they I think it was one of the companies decided, okay, we're gonna test this out. We're gonna do a test market. So they put them in a store in Cleveland, and Chan said that his dad said, well, let's go buy all of them. And so they went and they bought all of them, and the store thought it was an instant success, so they ordered all kinds of them from him.
I'd known Ralph Reidenauer for years in the heating and air conditioning business, and ran into one day at my father's where he was quoting an air conditioner, and got to talking about he wanted more manufacturing. And we started the Stevens division of Universal Refrigeration. And we were successful in getting into about 90% of the gas range industry. In the meantime, I had bought Norwalk Thermostat, which was started by some people that left Stevens. This was the start of the small tabletop craze, hamburger cookers, French fryers, crepe makers, all this first drip coffee makers, and it was field day. We couldn't make them fast enough. Mid-90s, where everything went to China, and so when your market goes, there's no need for a buggy whip manufacturer today in the States. So we sold part of the company to the last competitor in the United States, and sold the rest to a Chinese company. I spent the better part of a year going back and forth getting them started. And then I came back home, and that's when I decided with my son at Put-in-Bay to move back up there and start again.
I've always said if the old timers could come back and see what's happened to Put-in-Bay today, they would be shocked. I don't know who the first person was to rent golf carts, but Chan certainly ran with it, as did other people.
I was renting mopeds for my summer job, basically, through high school. And I started to grow that business up a fair bit, but as I got out of college and wanted to settle down and get a real job, it was not quite enough for me to, I think, make a living on that island. And I had this business that I was left kind of orphaned with, and I really didn't know what to do in the summers with that business. So my father was approaching retirement age from his thermostat business at that point, and we were just kind of comparing notes and kidding around, and he said, oh, well, I'll run it for you in the summers, and we'll see what we want to do with that.
Normally, a father leaves the business to his son. Okay, I had a son that started this thing, and he left it back to his dad. So we're doing this thing backwards.
Well, it used to be that families would come over and they'd all rent bicycles. The bicycle and golf cart companies would have maybe 10 golf carts, but they would have 800 bicycles. And now it's just the opposite.
When we started, they only had 4-person golf carts. You had a cart with 4 people, that was it. Nobody built a 6-passenger cart. So we started out to get 6-passenger carts. And then we went from there to 8s and 10s. And at one time we had the largest fleet of 6 and 8-passenger golf carts, I think, east of the Mississippi, if not even to California.
He picked it up, and my 5 golf carts and 20 mopeds turned into hundreds of golf carts and this massive golf cart empire.
At one time we had about 350 golf carts over at Put-in-Bay, at Kelly's. We ended up with a fleet that we rented for fairs and festivals around here and other places.
Here we've got a little 1,500-acre island, and there's probably 2,000 golf carts, rental golf carts here on the island. And Chan's a big part of it because he rented carts, and then he repairs carts. All the cottagers have golf carts, or a lot of them do. A lot of them bring their carts to him for repairs.
Chan is always Johnny on the spot, comes out if we have any kind of problem at all. And he's very good at fixing everything, like that. Just mechanical, genius, you want to call it, or more of an electrical genius, I think. It can fix about anything.
Even though he's 80 years old, it's like, if I take my golf cart down and it's like I feel like guilty that he's working on my golf cart. It's like, Chan, let me help you. And he's like, no, I'll do this. I'll take care of this or whatever.
The only way Chan would retire from the golf cart business is if he's actually physically incapacitated, I'm sure. I'm sure he thoroughly enjoys that. It's problems to solve and things to do, and it's tinkering. It's a problem to solve, and that's what engineers like.
He's moved with the changes. I remember when he started with the golf carts and Harbor Square and that, a lot of the island businesses, of course there was about 4 main owners, and they did not like Chan was the outsider, and they didn't like that. So they gave him a little bit of a hassle and didn't really like him that well, but they've all learned to respect him now, and as a businessman and as a person.
He had his son start his little moped business, and that grew into this golf cart business. He built Harbor Square out here. He built this beautiful carriage house with this mechanic area downstairs here. It's just amazing all the stuff that he has done on this island, and still had all these things going on back in Mansfield too. And the transition from making little thermostat parts to the other thing he's done, to all the things he's done here at Put-in-Bay. I quite honestly don't know how he has time to do them all.
Chan's been involved for at least 45 years with the rehab center.
The manufacturers in Mansfield had a thing called the Manufacturing Council, which was sort of part of the Chamber of Commerce. And I subbed for my father, who was traveling quite a bit. And at one of the meetings, Karen Barley came in and mentioned that the Crippled Children's Society needed a place to send children after they were through high school or to get a job.
At that time, we were concerned about what was going to happen to the kids as they got older. And that's when the idea of starting a rehab sheltered workshop came into view. And Chan really was instrumental in making that happen.
Karen and I and some people from rehab got together and we started what became Progress Industries.
He's just such a giving person and has always been, and certainly loves his community and has done an awful lot to help many people throughout the years.
He's recognized because of his I don't know what you call him, his green jumpsuit that he wears.
Yeah, Chan has never been very formal. You know, he's always been dressed like he can go to work. He can actually fix stuff.
He doesn't look right when he's just dressed up. When he has a regular shirt and the pants, he looks out of place, you know.
The Rehabilitation Society, I ended up in president of the board. I said I'll only do it if I don't have to change clothes, so that destroyed the dress code. I don't think ever since they've had too many people with coats and ties. You know me, normally I'm in green coveralls, and my brother's in tan ones, so there's evidently some gene in our family that has caused the coverall episode.
My father and my mother, they've raised us to be confident, explore, and what I really take from Dad in particular is to not be afraid of looking at an alternate view, that we don't feel like we need to conform.
We sold the shopping center and sold the bulk of the carts. And I kept about 100 just to keep me off the street, and moved them out to a lot beside my house, on which we built a Victorian carriage house, is how it was described. And what it turned out to be a golf cart garage and showroom downstairs and 3 apartments upstairs. So we're now sort of the Bob Newhart in the hospitality industry up there, and Boo handles that part of it along with one of my daughters-in-law, and we still deal with the carts. I'm still a mechanic. I probably will be a mechanic till I die, and this is sort of what I enjoy.